Welcome back to DM-Nastics, the gym for dungeon masters to work out their minds. I'm one of your hosts, DM Celeste, aka Sea Witch.
I'm your other host, DM Neil, aka Jote Maniac. What's Jote Maniac stand for, you ask? Jack of all trades, master of none, IAC. I've solved the puzzle. Yeah, whatever. This one's about puzzles, the most annoying thing you can add to your game.
No, what? I love puzzles. So I'm just going to level with you. I'm an escape room junkie. I'm in an escape club. Every month I meet up with friends and we do escape rooms. I love puzzles that much. I love them. I wrote Puzzle Master, one of the best-selling supplements of all time on the Dungeon Masters Guild about puzzles in your games. Bam.
I didn't say I didn't like puzzles.
Oh, we should do that as the light bulb.
That's a great idea. And solves the problem immediately. Also, I didn't say I didn't like puzzles. I said I didn't like adding puzzles to my game. Those are two very different things.
Let's see. I just spend a lot of time defending puzzles and explaining why people are doing them wrong to make them hard. So, let's talk about it.
Welcome to the most contentious episode of DM-Nastics, Puzzles, and why Neil's doing them wrong. No.
Why Neil is doing it wrong.
What gross alliteration did I use? Today's exercise is entitled Properly Preparing Perfect Puzzles.
I'm glad you have to edit out those expletives.
So, we have an article, and today it's classic puzzles, every good, already inflammatory. So, I've looked into a lot of SEO, so search engine optimization stuff. Things like this, it's literally what Google is asking you to do. It will specifically denote that you are not using certain words in your title. It will tell you you're doing it wrong. So clearly they're doing it right. Classic puzzles every good DM uses in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep. You want to be good? Get on this level. Read this article. Oh.
This is from Luke Ackroyd, and it was updated like 2 weeks ago.
Ooh, fresh meat.
That just screams Baldur's Gate 3. Don't convince me otherwise.
Yes.
I learned a lot about SEO recently, and Neil is now jaded. Very jaded to this process.
Heck yeah.
And it was all for you, dear listener. I know a lot more about why these are built the way they are and how they're built, so we have learned a whole bunch more. But let's start with our first type of puzzle, which I think is interesting because I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I would have called this a puzzle.
Okay, so one sec. So these are they're saying these are classic puzzle scenarios, or these are specific puzzles that every good DM knows?
Puzzling scenarios is probably the best term to use, because our first one is a ghost ship.
Okay.
These are very specific.
Oh boy. All right, so they're like new puzzles. Okay.
Yeah, crossing seems impossible until a spooky ghost ship arrives, offering safe passage across the water.
Oh my god, okay. Once the boat sets sail, the ghostly pirates begin to sing sea shanties. It becomes clear the ship is lost, yet the ghosts continue singing. Okay, and the party might be lost if they don't act quickly. Okay, so this puzzle is making 17 assumptions about the options your players are going to say yes to, which is already problematic. But anyway, let's look past that. Okay, so to solve the puzzle, the players must find a map of the mysterious ocean river and convince the pirates to head in the right direction. Your players will need to come up with new sea shanties to tempt the pirates to sing that are linked to the landmarks they need to reach. Okay. I love the idea of this, but I feel like setting this up is going to be a hell of a lot of work.
Yeah. But admittedly, this is definitively a puzzle based on the way it has been presented. So I no longer feel bad about saying puzzling scenarios, because this is 100% a puzzle that has a solution and in turn needs to be solved to accomplish.
Yeah. What I like about it is that it is a creative challenge. So, which is something, most puzzles you get in D&D are unfortunately riddles. which are just not the good type of puzzle for most people. And then second, you would get logic puzzles are the most common. So like, follow the patterns, put things in this order, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a creative puzzle, which is really cool. As long as you have the right players for it. I feel like you really need, that player who wanted to be a bard to make up creative rhymes and stuff. If you don't have that player, this might get rough.
Yeah. This one has a lot of solutions that players may come up with are very, this is a nail and I have a hammer. These are ghosts and I can kill them. In a lot of ways, a lot of the options that seem like they would present themselves definitely feel that way. I mean, it's got more of a definitely a jaunty vibe than typically I would lean more horror game this way if I'm introducing a ghost ship. But this is more Disneyland adventure than it is something else.
Yeah. I think if you have the right party that's willing to like go with the narrative on this could be a lot of fun. But yeah.
All right. I will admit I'm in love with the second one.
Ooh, okay. Tell me about it.
So this is reverse puzzles. You enter the dungeon, but the dungeon has been cleared. Every trap has been sprung. Everything has been disarmed. You get to the end of the thing you want. Boom! It's a reset. Everything's reactivated. Have fun, everyone.
Cool. I like the idea of this a lot.
Do you remember what happened? So my thing would be like, yeah, do you remember everything you passed through? And so this gets into an interesting nuance of like, okay, you as there's a couple things that I would think of that I would want to do to personally prepare for this. I would not over embellish my maps. I would make sure that I'm not drawing too much when I draw the maps for them, if I'm drawing them at all. I can't tell how much of a hint I would want to give prior to this because with most puzzles, I don't want to feel like I pulled the wool over their eyes completely and just left them without realizing what would happen. So, and then from there, you're also, okay, what benefits are you gaining on memory? Because again, if it's all in a single session, that's also probably how I would play it because I don't know that it's fair.
I do feel like if you have like a note-taking player too, this could either like be really satisfying for them or be solved really easily, depending on how intense you made the memory stuff, right? Because if you have somebody who takes copious notes and they really write down every freaking thing you say, then this isn't going to be fun. It's not really a memory challenge. But if you do have a note-taking player who always sketches out the basics, like they're going to get to shine, right? Because they're probably the only player who is actually paying attention during this, which could be good or bad.
And you could also give them advantage. I mean, it's always interesting because that's a little above the table, but I would still lean into that to say that's the person that takes the notes, that heavily watches what's going on. Why wouldn't I give that person and in turn their character advantage on what's going to happen in reverse? I like it. I like it a lot.
I like this idea a lot. I'd never considered this, and this is actually very clever, and I'm really interested in how it would work at a table. I feel like you would have to really be good about your notes, like what you gave them exactly, right, on your way through. So I would like write out the number of rooms and then make sure I had like 3 bullet points, right, that I used to describe each room or whatever that I hit, and I made sure to hit as they went through, just in case they never looked at literally anything else.
Yeah, I would be as descriptive of each trap as I would be if they were the ones springing the trap, even though it is deactivated.
Cool. That's a good idea. That's a good one. You redeemed it.
What do we have next?
Okay, so this one we have trigger words. So 5e puzzles often involve lots of discussions between players, how to solve them. Sure do. Puzzle use that to your advantage. Excellent option if you have a talkative group. I'm listening. So the party finds themselves in a room full of sliding doors and deadly gadgets. It seems impossible to get past. As the players begin to discuss, they notice that some of the traps stop and particular doors open. As they discuss further, traps activate again, different doors slide and close. Okay, so that certain words are triggering different room components. Okay, so it might be commonly used words like the or and, or triggers might be linked to tone of voice. Holy cannoli, okay. Nice, okay, so while there's talking, this is basically like figure out the words, and things are super reactive In that, interesting. Because I feel like this becomes a puzzle about, like, the PCs would definitely freak out because things are happening. And then trying to figure out from the huge to the small what was actually causing things to activate. That's interesting.
I would put them in initiative if it were me to try and do this because of how much I think I would be. This is actually a time management device for me putting them into initiative with as much as likely would be happening. I don't think I would be able to keep pace if I'm not in initiative, if I'm not allowing myself to have that time to think through the process as they're saying certain words or using certain tones or doing whatever I think triggers and untriggers the traps.
Yeah, I would probably, to set this up, I think, have them just talking normal and then describe things happening, and then they'll go like, whoa, freak out. And then when they start to circle around the idea that something they're saying or doing is affecting things, then I would put them in turn order to, like, actually try things. Because I think the fun of this starts with oh man, we didn't actually try anything. Wait, we were just saying things and things were happening. Wait, nobody say anything. Nothing is happening, right? And then it's like, and then you can work for there. This is cool. I'm not sure how much the players would enjoy this. I feel like it might get tedious, especially if you're like, ooh, just the tone of voice solution, right? Like, that seems a little far, but
yeah, I think it has a short shelf life, but I think it would work well as a room in a dungeon.
Yeah,
I think, but not much more than that. And yeah, finding out what the trigger word is for on and off and quickly getting them there quickly would definitely be needed.
This is a great puzzle to insert if you haven't planned a lot and you just need your players to talk for like an hour to figure something out, right? To fill time is what this feels like. But definitely a one and done for sure. But very clever. It's unique.
Dear listener, we have quickly
Dear listeners, we have an announcement, a PSA in the middle of this episode.
When you go to this website and it's in the show notes, there are 33 options that have all been written out to this effect. In many ways, it's like a tiny supplement that has been written online and presented to you as a spicy article, and it is not
for free
at all.
Yeah,
it is literally just 33 different puzzle-based options written out that you could use for your players. So we will dabble into but a few more, and I think we'll probably come back.
Yeah, this is it's a great topic that I love talking about. So yeah, we'll definitely have to come back because neither of us scrolled far enough to realize how many, dear listeners, there were for you.
We did not.
Sure didn't.
So what is the next one that you would like to talk about? I will do one more, and then we will call it there.
Oh, it's the freezing tunnel. And what I like about this is it has a piece of art from Rime of the Frost Maiden, which was the Wizard's book I wrote on. So it feels extra special. I hope it's good. Okay, the freezing tunnel. So this puzzle would fit in well with an Arctic setting, you don't say, but could fit in a dungeon or two, blah, blah, blah. So the players must get through a long tunnel, which has completely frozen solid. So they can chip away, but over time it continues to freeze again, putting them at risk to get it frozen. The tunnel is full of frozen monsters that awake when freed from the ice. So the puzzle navigating involves pressure on the players. They have to defeat the monsters while simultaneously chipping away the ice before it freezes everyone. So the monster they defeat have parts of them, such as, magical claws or sharp glowing limbs that they can use to break each chunk of ice before them instantaneously. Oh, okay, so that's interesting. So it's like a twist on a key puzzle, basically. So if you can defeat the monsters fast enough, you can take whatever they have on them to get through the ice faster. So it's really about racing to beat the monsters as quickly as possible, so that way the tunnel won't freeze and you have to lose progress. Well, I like the idea of this. I feel like you really need an external pressure to make this work, because otherwise it just becomes an arena fight of monsters, right? There's no real clever way to solve this otherwise.
My thought, I think, is always with puzzles, what is a complete fail condition? Like, what if this goes completely wrong? So I think here is like, okay, so what if you're incapable of doing this in X amount of time, then travel between these two places is cut off, and basically either a hardship or straight up death is in the cards if you're not able to accomplish this. The other thing I think of is, what if you don't do it and you lose a player to the ice that you then have to break out? Are you going to give them exhaustion, some condition, something like that? Or yeah, what will you lose? Like you said, there needs to be some stakes. What are you going to lose if you're not able to accomplish this in a timely manner?
I also feel like it's either, you need the stakes to make this work, or you need to give them some way to figure out the clever option. So what I would do is like, oh, here are 3 frozen walls, and you can see the monsters inside each of them. Which one do you fight, right? Ooh. And then like one has silver claws, right? One is like a mummy, and one is something else, right? So figuring out which are the monsters that are going to give you something that helps you move forward is actually a puzzle, whereas the scenario is written is pretty much just a normal dungeon crawl, right? It's like smash a wall, fight something, smash a wall, fight something.
All you gotta do is add an S. Tunnels.
Yeah. It's tunnels. And then that way they have to be smart about like, oh, okay. Or like they could make checks based on like those monsters. What do they know about them, right? Because like if you have, again, something like, I don't know, if you have like a construct, right? Like an iron golem is immune to all kinds of damage. So fight the iron golem, right? Get that arm, smash through something. Way better option than fighting a gelatinous cube or whatever, right? So it kind of plays on knowledge and like puzzle solving.
And I would probably go with like a binary option and then reduce the amount of time that they're allowed to think through it. And so like, A or B, let's go. Okay.
Yep.
And then,
let's go.
Yeah.
And I tried to pick really scary looking things on one side and something weak on the other. And they'd be like, oh my God, what's the choice? And be like, haha. See, that's fun. Like when they the clever haha, that's what you really want out of this.
Okay. I'm in love with this one too. Just because I think this is very funny.
Tell me about it.
Brewing potions.
Ooh.
Oh, have you seen the potion seller?
No.
Oh, I will find it for you. It's just one person using like a weird camera trick back and forth, acting as a fighter and a potion seller.
Amazing.
And they do a really weird voice and like, you're not strong enough for my potions. But potion seller, I need them. Potion seller. Look it up. It'll be in the show notes. I'm going to put potion seller in the show notes.
Okay.
But basically brewing potions, you've been hired by a potion seller. And I think we're going to go the route of very eccentric, a labeling system that they're the only person that would even remotely know what it means. But you're tasked with completing the demand. I personally would make this a cause and effect. The players have done something. Now they have basically disrupted the process of this potion seller. They need to go help. And they're stuck in the back room and they're needing to fulfill orders. The example that is given is that basically someone wants to be able to help swim in a frozen lake. So do you have a potion of diving coupled with a potion of campfire? You can swim better and underwater, but you feel warmer. But you can go as wild as you want. The alternative option is basically they find a fishy potion and a hot sauce potion and they combine it. Now the person has gills and their mouth is on fire, so they feel warm the entire time.
This is amazing. I love this puzzle. And you know why this puzzle rocks? It's because it's so many indie games have this, right? Like the customer request, like you're behind the counter, have to make creative choices, and you give them weird prompts. Like this is a very successful strategy used in a lot of video games. So what's super fun about this is being able to do this in a game. I do feel like there would be problems with some groups, like getting them to buy into the scenario of this. And like, so you'd have to go with players who are willing to be creative and realize this is kind of breaking the fourth wall, right? And like, we're doing a fun creative challenge instead of like having a wizard standing there going, well, I can taste every potion and I can tell what it, right? So for some groups, this may not work, but
I think the other thing that's really nice is that another thing to think about with puzzles is having, like, there are no wrong answers with these equations, basically, but there are certainly less right answers. The diving and campfire, you found the perfect solution, the 2 potions that combine perfectly to solve this person's order. Is it that they tip more? Is there, whatever mechanic you're finding to make that true? Obviously, gills and hot sauce, not the most correct answer. It still gets the order fulfilled.
Very creative. Yeah, exactly.
And I love this answer, but definitely not the right.
Yeah, the players who love this will love this, but you have to be really good at making sure you have a list of options that can be combined in several different ways, right? To prepare for this puzzle. I feel like this is a lot of preparation, but would be worth the payoff if you have a group that's just like loves the creative aspect of it.
Yeah, I don't. That's it. So the tough one in this scenario for me as a dungeon master is I don't know how prepared I want to be. Like, do I want to go in cold concept? I just have orders. Is that all I'm going to walk to the table with, or am I going to also have potion options?
No, I think to make this work, you have to have a list of the potion bottles. Like, you have to have an inventory, right?
That's what I was thinking too.
Otherwise, it's not fun if you're just like coming up with things. Because the player will go, oh, they're cold. I'm going to make a potion of antifreeze. There you go, right? Like, and then that solves it. So the puzzle solving requires giving them pieces, I feel like, to be able to solve the puzzle. Otherwise, it's just imagination, which is, fun in a lot of ways, but for puzzles, just saying things, it isn't how puzzles work, right? You need rules, you need structure.
So that means we've done it. So if you enjoyed that and you have your own puzzles that you want to share with us, you can always head over and you can email us at dmnastics@gmail.com. And of course, if you head over to Twitter, you can follow our daily DMnastics at DMS_block. That's at DMsBlock. And of course, I am at Jotmaniac and Celeste is at C. Conowitch. And for everything else on the network, blockpartypodcastnetwork.com.
As always, a huge thank you to the bards over on Bombarded for our intro and outro music. You can find out more about Bombarded at bombardedcast.com.
And rather than let these mental gains go to waste, let's head to taking your supplements. Taking your supplements! I was very puzzled about what we would talk about for taking your supplements. Celeste, what do you think we should talk about?
Well, Neil, it's funny because, you said puzzles, and then I was like, oh boy, Neil, isn't it perfect? I've written something about this. So on DM's Guild, a million years ago, I wrote a supplement and posted it. It's called Puzzle Master. And so if you go to dungeonmastersguild.com, DM's Guild, you can get Puzzle Master, which is a supplement of a bunch of puzzles, 10 puzzles, perfectly suited for any TTRPG game, ready to plug and play into any game. So this is exactly what you want if you have ever been that DM who has gone to your Google search before a game and been like, good puzzles for D&D. If that is you, this is what you need, dear friends. For only $5.95, you can go and you can pick up Puzzle Master. And what's great about this is I was writing this when I was a DM's Guild adept. An amazing team involved, top to bottom. So this also features puzzles from, me, James and Tricasso, and MT Black, who, James and MT are huge, awesome designers in the space. It's got beautiful handouts from Stacey Allen, who is a god of, graphic design and layout. And so everything is ready to go, plug and play, either in a VTT, we made it super VTT friendly, or, your analog stuff. You can just print these out and have these ready to go. But they're just different puzzles to drop in. And what's great is we also have suggestions on how to run puzzles, how to give hints. We have hints built in, as well as checks, how to deal with frustrations, pain points. And if you really enjoy puzzles, we even include guidelines for actually playing through all the puzzles as if it were an escape room style, dungeon. So if you want to run a puzzle dungeon, there's a whole, characters scenario, all ready to go, or you can just use the puzzles individually. So I would love if you picked it up. It's got a lot of great reviews. It's a best mithril seller, which means one of the best selling products ever on the DM's Guild, ever in all the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of things people make.
Holy cow. That could not be more true, that number.
Check it out. I would love to share it with you, and don't be like me and just keep Googling stuff. Get this thing that I made. and just have something ready to go.
Yep, and there'll be, as always, there will be a link in the show notes where you can check out Puzzle Master, which I can already see. I've already looked at this. I know I have it. You brought it to my own memory, and now I'm going to be honest, I feel very dumb about not pulling this back up when doing all my Dungeon 23 stuff.
Oh, ridiculous. Yeah, you got to get in there. It's just
fool.
Puzzles, ready to go.
Done. So yeah, link in the show notes and make it a double mithril bestseller. That's not a thing, but it can be in our heart of hearts.
Can't get higher in our hearts. It can be double mithril, triple platinum mithril. Thank you.
So, but with that, we'll turn out the lights and head out of the gym.
Before we go, I want to implore you, the listeners, to join the forums, the Discord, Twitter, and anywhere else you can find us and take part in these challenges, exercises, and other amazing conversations being had.
And to do that, head over to dungeonmasterblock.freeforums.net and try some DM-Nastics so your players don't ask, do you even